Say what? Look, I'm on tour right now. I ain't even trying.
The new OGs. The new OGs is a Stage Madison Entertainment production and is brought to you by Sun Life Solar. Sun Life is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. So, if you are a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, spit that one out. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, raise the value of your home, and do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so.
Not a single dollar out of your pocket,
Not a single dollar out of your pocket. You actually don't have to put up any money, and you can get solar panels on your roof. It's crazy. In fact, they can actually only work with you if they can save you money, which is great. Sun Life is a SunPower dealer. It's an American panel maker with over 30 years of solar experience. And Sun Life even has a referral program that pays out as much as $500 per referral. So head over to www.illinoissolar.today and get in contact for a free consultation or to refer someone you know. We are also brought to you by anybody you know that has a home. They gotta have a home. If you they gotta own it. You gotta say somebody's house. If you just send somebody's house,
I gotta say too, that's a great deal. With all this ComEd nonsense going on in the Illinois government, I think it's nice to have a backup. So go solar.
We have an upcoming midweek mini where we're going to break down the ComEd stuff, and there's definitely some implications on the solar end of that too that are important. It's the right time to do it, honestly. Yes. So go there and check that out for that. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy.
Yeah,
that
baby.
is a network
Comedy people.
That's James Webb's in the background, our producer.
Hello.
Go find them on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. See all the great shows that they have offered there. Check in daily. They've got new, fresh podcasts you can watch and listen to. It's literally the best podcast studio in the city of Chicago right now.
Thank you.
Super dope.
Probably the most diverse podcast studio in the city of Chicago
Probably
right now. Probably in the state of Illinois. It's
network. Period. Like who has this kind of diversity out there in the world right now, man? Podcasts are pretty.
There's some good podcast diversity out there, but this is right up there.
A network, but
this is right up there. Yeah, this is right up there. I would say this is up there, though.
Yeah, baby.
You know, but I mean, you do, man. You've got a bunch of different shows from a bunch of different people from all walks of life. A bunch of comedians who are doing their thing, and some people who are comedians who get in there and do that. So check that out as well.
Okay, Bobby, I'm gonna try this again. I'm trying some Trump shit. Who's better? Nobody's better than us. We're the most diverse ever. Nobody's ever been this diverse. Our diversity is so diverse that people go, wow, you guys are really diverse.
That is the classic way to do that, right? That's the Trumpian way in which to tell people that you have the best thing, right? So as you can see, I'm as won over by that as I was by any of the shit that Trump talks about. I have that ability. Also, Zanies is a comedy club in Chicago that is open. Sir. They're doing live shows again. Make sure you go to zanies.com. It is legendary. It is what is it? The oldest comedy club in the city.
It is
probably one of the oldest ones in the country. It's like 35, 40 years old. Something
40
like
years
that.
old.
Yeah. 40 years old. That's an old ass comedy club. If it was
older than most of the comics in it.
Yeah, if it was a comic, it couldn't headline anywhere. It was.
Oh my God, got him. Wow.
Oh man. No, go to zanies.com. They're socially distancing. They're being as responsible as restrictions are allowing them to be. And so they're probably taking some extra steps in there too. So go to zanies.com, get tickets. They have live shows right now that you can go to at the downtown Chicago. Well, not downtown, but the Chicago location. For a Chicago purist, we wouldn't call it downtown. Yeah. We call it Old Town. But if you're from Schaumburg or some shit, or you're flying in from Georgia, then it's probably downtown.
Downtown as it gets.
That's as downtown as you probably might want to go. You might want to stop your downtown somewhere around there. XL, what's going on, baby?
Man, you know what? I'm going to take this time. You usually ask me what I did for the week. I did a bunch of cool shit. I'm a cool motherfucker. But I'm going to take a shout out some people real quick that did some super dope shit. I'm shouting out to Jigga Man for starting a new school for sports, entertainment, and athletics in Long Island, New York. That's what's up, Jigga Man.
Is it a distance learning school?
No. It won't start till 2021. So hopefully COVID will be long gone by then. Got it. It is going to primarily focus on the entertainment and arts industry. Obviously, what Jay-Z knows is Jay-Z also owns a sports agency.
right.
That does very well. He represents Katie and a bunch of other major athletes, and he's going to teach people how to do it. Which the reason why I'm using my time right now to give him a big up is because I have felt my entire life that Black people run away from. It's not a wrong thing or a bad thing to say that most of the Black millionaires in America are involved in athletics or sports. Is what it is. The vast majority.
That's the paths that were the most available to us to excel in. Right.
Exactly. It's a pathway that we can get into where racism doesn't, actually racism works in our favor in some cases.
I mean, you go for about 300 years of, selective breeding and you can end up with some pretty tremendous
selective breathing and full-time calisthenics all the time.
I mean,
but I've always felt that I always thought it was odd that we as a people seem to kind of shy away from that. And I think we should lean into it. Not just be the athletes, but there should be way more Maverick Carters in the world representing athletes. There should be way more people on the other side of the camera and behind the camera representing people, doing things of that nature. And this academy, college, it's not academy, it's fucking college. This college is going to create majors for that. And it's something, not only that I felt for Black people, I felt every major university should have one for athletes. It's insane that athletes make the money that they do. And at no point in their life, they all go to school. Football players go to school for 3 years. At no point does anybody teach them how to handle money or what the entertainment business is or what 15% means when it comes out your check from your agent or your manager or whatever, or 10%, I should say. Like, nobody teaches that. You just hand somebody $10 million when they're 19 years old and say, hey, good luck, kid, when they came from the hood. And this school will, although it won't help a lot of athletes at this school, maybe they'll start a trend, hopefully.
Well, I mean, we constantly bring up when somebody Black who makes it get somewhere is like, what are you going to do to go and try and give back, right? Like, how are you going to lift up other people? How do you build Black wealth? We need to own our own schools. We need to own our own, X, Y, Z. And like, speaking of Z, Jay-Z is doing it. You know what I mean? So like, it's a path, right? Like there's a path now for that wasn't there possibly before. I don't know how the financing of it is going to work. I don't know how they plan to, create curriculum. I'm not sure, I don't know any of the standards. I did see that. I just didn't see any of the standards about how it's going to be built or how it's going to work. But, I'm gonna just leap. I'm gonna take a leap and say that they don't probably have that right now because they're not launching until next year. Well, what I will say though is that like it's somebody trying to do something, right? Yeah. Like it's not just everybody throwing their hands up going, man, I wish somebody would try to do this thing that we keep saying that we need to do if we're going to try and excel. I wish somebody would. Well, here we go. Now somebody's going to do it, and there we go. Right. So
and I'm willing to bet it produces a bunch of. Hopefully, America and the Earth is still here in 10 years, and in 10 years from now, when a couple cats have graduated from there, we have like the next Puffy or the next Maverick Carter or the next cat behind the scenes that is the mogul. The next, I would say Russell Simmons, but he's in.
It'd be great if you could just rattle off 50 of them like you could if they were white, right?
Exactly. And that's what I think this school is a step in the direction of. Hopefully, what my big wish from this is, I hope other schools see. I hope it's a success, and I hope other schools see it and take up, because it just, how I always see patterns. I always say I see patterns and shit like that. It's a money opportunity, if nothing else. Fuck the advancing Black people part of it. It's a money opportunity, man. Like, nobody else is teaching this.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of people who want to know it. Everybody likes entertainment. Most people like sports. Everybody likes some sort of entertainment.
Well, there are universities that are kind of dedicated to stuff like this already. There's Full Sail down in Florida. There's universities like that.
Do they do hospitality, specifically entertainment?
I'm not sure.
I thought they focus on hospitality mostly.
I mean, they do. Are you asking if Full Sail focuses on entertainment or they focus on hospitality?
I'm saying I thought hospitality was a thing down there.
So you're saying, Full Sail is a huge music university.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah. Their whole thing is like learning, if you want to learn how to be a producer or learn how to manage entertainment or learn how to, like, you go get a degree from Full Sail University. Like that is for Florida. There's a bunch of producers that have come out of Full Sail University. I think from. God, did T-Pain go to Full Sail? There's been, I mean, you can just go down the list. There's a bunch of cats who came out of Full Sail who become, I think Rodney Jerkins was a Full Sail University guy. There's a bunch of guys who've come out of there that were just tremendous as far as, production capability. So, yeah, that's wild, man. It's it'll be, it'll turn a lot of things around. Hopefully we'll create some more opportunities on the business side of everything that's going on. That's pretty straight. Hopefully some people have some money to do it when that time comes. We do not have a new stimulus bill yet. We're still kind of waiting on that,
which is insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
The arguments over the $600 extra shit is so ridiculous to me.
The core of the argument, the base of the argument is we're giving people too much money in the middle of a pandemic while the economy is hurting. And they're trying to stimulate the economy. The entire purpose of it is to try to re-stimulate the economy. And their complaint is, well, we're giving you too much.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. If you're trying to stimulate the economy, of course you give too much. They're going to spend it. Nobody on the bottom end of that's getting that money is holding on to that money for a rainy day. It's fucking a torrential downpour right now for everybody.
All we got is Amazon. All we got is Amazon and the other places to order shit from. Like there's Amazon, there's whatever your spot is that you're ordering your shit from. There's all the takeout food we want to eat because people were enjoying learning how to cook new shit at the beginning of the pandemic when they thought they would just have to learn how to make like one loaf of bread and some cookies. And now that they're just like, oh, we have to make like meals forever, they are ordering out, I'm sure, a lot more, right?
Bobby, I cooked all year, starting in January. I was cooking, I was trying to lose weight. I was cooking. And then when the pandemic hit, I really got into the shit. I was cooking for the whole family. I was hooking that shit up. And that shit hit me because I was mixing and going out, and then we couldn't go out, and I was cooking every day. And I got sick of it. And from like the end of July until I got that air fryer this week, I was going out a little bit more than I should have been. I was going out, and now I got the air fryer. I'm back to 100% cooking. Right. In the crib because I didn't figure out how to do damn near everything in there, dude. I done bought a bunch of accessories. I'm air fry guy now.
Oh, for the air fryer, you got all types of shit going on now, so now everything is.
Oh yeah. I've invested more time in that air fryer this week than almost anything. I think I might have invested more time in the air fryer than I did my son.
Well, listen, here's the thing. In a few years, your son's going to be gone, but that air fryer is still going to be there, right? So you got to make sure that you got to spend your time.
Gone to college, not like gone forever. Jesus Christ, Bobby.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, we understand. Everyone knows how children work, XL. We didn't assume that we all just killed them at 18. We assumed that it would go to.
Have you seen Midsummer? Have you seen?
No.
Good for you.
No, I've seen enough movies about a bunch of white people.
That might be the smartest thing you did last summer is not seeing that movie.
Yeah, I had no need. I didn't see any reason to see that movie. Had zero appeal to me. I wasn't sure.
I don't like horror movies. I don't like scary movies. They scare me. Right. I went to see it with a bunch of comics because we all got stupid high. I think we had some really strong edibles or something. And we laughed all the way through it. And I was like, that wasn't that bad. I actually didn't get scared. Like 3 weeks. 3 weeks of nightmares. 3 weeks of nightmares after that fucking movie. Like when I sobered up, I started remembering all the shit that I saw, and it was like, oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, I don't remember Dreams.
Frances Pugh, what's her name? Is it Frances Pugh? The star of that. I think that's her name. Yeah, she's a gorgeous woman. Can't look at her.
Yeah, she's in the new Black Widow movie. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, she's a sister, right? Yeah, I'm gonna have to look away every time she's on the screen. It's gonna scare me.
She's most of the screen, man. She's gonna be the new Black Widow, so you're gonna have to deal with her.
I gotta get over it. God.
I don't remember Dreams, and so I could have all the nightmares in the world, and I wouldn't be able to tell you about any of them. So they happen. I just don't know about them going on. But in the midst of this, though, Congress is getting ready to go away. They're about to go on break, right? Congress is out of session here in a little bit.
Yeah. I know that on this show, I'm the Democrat. To most people, they're going to say I'm the Democrat. But
you are the Democrat.
The things that I defend about the Democrats are the things that I like. The Democrats sent a bill in May.
Right.
They sent a bill in May with what needed to be done because everybody knew that more was going to have to be done.
Right.
Mitch McConnell, being conservative, said, let's wait and see what happens with what we've already done before we already commit to making more, which, as an ex-conservative, that made sense to me. You're right, Mitch. We're going to pass this bill is what I'm thinking. But I'm also like, yeah, let's wait and see. Let's see how much we need. We might need more. We might need less.
Right.
Well, the GDP dropped 32%, more than it's ever dropped in the history of the United States.
Yeah, you have to find another country before you get to another time that happened.
Yeah, we have 50 million people unemployed, and pretty much everything's a shit show except for the Dow, which, for those of you who don't understand, when they say the Dow and the economy are two different things, right now is a great time to see that illustration, because the last time I checked, it was up like 200 points today, and it's up around 26 or 27,000. I actually haven't looked in a week or two because I'm so disgusted. They're making money while everybody else is suffering.
Yeah.
The people at the top are making more money. It has grown 9,000 points since it dropped. It dropped to 18, like around 18,000 or 18.9, right around 19,000 at the early part of the pandemic when everybody initially panicked. It dropped that low. And it's gone all the way back up to almost 27,000. And Trump will tout that as, look at the Dow, it's doing well. That means nothing to you. If you think that, oh, look at my savings when I retire, unless you're going to retire in the next 2 or 3 years, it means fuck all to you. And in fact, it still means nothing to you, because unless you're going to pull it all out before he leaves office, by the time he leaves office,
that's who cares though. The people who are like pushing this shit are all people who are retiring in the next 2 years and will probably pull their money the fuck out.
No, 2 years is not going to be enough, Bobby. Remember what I told you this a little bit ago, because I know me and you talk about investments off screen and stuff a lot, and I said have all your shit out by like the middle of October. Get all your shit out by the middle of October, because if the second quarter dropped 32%, the greatest drop of all time, and they're not giving stimulus now, and people are getting evicted from their homes now, and people are getting foreclosed on their homes now, what do you think the third quarter is going to look like?
Right.
That final Friday, that final week of the third quarter is going to be a bloodbath. That is the
like the long-term failure that's on the horizon, right? And so, but
the only thing I can see for people, for the economy, the Dow being what it is now, is that people who are playing it are all trying to make a profit right now before October comes. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense.
That's it.
Possibly that.
There's a huge speculation market going around right now about what's about to happen. And so this is the problem with creating an economy that's built on these types of markets, though, because the leveraging of this pandemic for financial gain is something that is happening. Yeah. And the leveraging of the pandemic for financial gain can only really truly happen. Don't get me wrong. There's some people who are going to hit it big during this time, right? And during this 6 months, there's somebody who did something at the right time, who made a move, and I mean a big move, right? Like, I mean somebody who like didn't have a whole lot but invested right in this. Now there's a few of them, right? But the reality is like the actual people who gain the most in this, after a whole bunch of people get evicted and don't have money to pay for shit, are the people who have so much money that even losing $20 billion ain't shit. That even losing $30 million ain't shit. That even, you know what I mean? Like, those people are the ones who will come by afterwards and buy up all the locations. They're the ones who will come through afterwards and buy your house that you can pay for, and they'll change that whole land over to different shit. And so it's a benefit to them to have this shit be fucked up.
Also, something scary. I was talking with a friend of the show, friend of ours, probably watching. Shout out Kyle Scanlon.
Kyle Scanlon loves shout outs.
He told me something that kind of shook me, and I haven't had a chance to investigate more. But he's from far, like 6 hours south, 5 hours south in Illinois, and all farmland down there, just everywhere, right?
Right.
And a lot of farms had been selling their land; they couldn't continue farming anymore, stuff like that. And apparently, the government is buying up the land instead. Because we were talking about, Kanye made the comment about, why don't more Black people just buy up land in the Midwest where it's cheap and you can have like acres of land to you and your family forever, and blah blah blah, and all that stuff. And Kyle was like, well, the government's buying up all the land, which is not something I would expect Kyle Scanlon to come back at me with, but he spent some time down south this summer with his family, and he's telling me, he's talking to the people down there. And also, I'm passing this on from him, but also he says it's a completely different world down there. It's a Trump town.
Of course.
And it's a small town.
Southern Illinois? Are you surprised?
They have no COVID, and they're walking around like they changed nothing in their lives. They're like, nobody's wearing masks. People just hanging out doing their thing. It's like, I think he said like the first couple months they were scared, and then when nobody had cases, because they don't have cases there, and it literally
because nobody fucking goes there, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, think about it. If you are listening to this and you don't live in Southern Illinois, what in your life has ever spurned any idea that you have even thought about the fact that there even is a Southern Illinois? The fact that you start talking about Southern Illinois right now, there's a bunch of people that are like, oh, right, there's a whole like southern part of Illinois.
It is weird that Illinois doesn't stop after like Kankakee.
I mean, at least Champaign.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Like Champaign and Springfield. The only thing I think about going down there is if I had some IU. Like I think the last time I was in Champaign was a Dave Matthews concert at U of I, and the last time I was in Springfield.
XL loves white women.
I used to. I told you I'm often bitches. We still friends and stuff. I just
right.
If you like pure white, like you gotta have some Latina, some Native American, something.
Well, one of my favorite lines from True Blood is just because I don't believe in Jesus anymore, don't mean we'll be talking every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, so you still talk to the white ladies, and you still know about Dave Matthews.
I'm still friends. Yeah, I'm still friends. Still love them. Still love them. You know.
There's been some changes with this disease. I mean, so yeah, like that's why there is so much pushback though, because rural areas are far more supportive, or were far more supportive of Donald Trump. And rural areas have less people, less tourists, less people coming in and out, and therefore obviously less cases, because if nobody brings the virus to you, then you can't have the virus. So they're walking around being like, what the fuck is everybody talking about?
Exactly. That town, I did a show down there, and that town is so small that I went to the gas station by myself, and a cop walked in, and the first he saw me and goes, "You must be Kyle's friend, the comedian." He knew who I was. As soon as he walked in, I was at a gas station. He walked in the gas station, saw me. "You must be Kyle's friend, the comedian." Like, because there was no chance that there was another big black guy. There's no chance of another black guy coming through town.
You're either Kyle's friend, the comedian, or this will be the last time anyone sees of you.
Yeah, you better. You know what? I swear to God, if I wasn't Kyle's friend, the comedian, would have said yes either way.
Right? Yeah. Absolutely, I'm Kyle's friend, the comedian. Don't know who Kyle is. Don't know what comedy is. Yeah, actually, I'm lost, but yeah, I'm the comedian today. They've changed. They're acting like everything is fine down there. In Chicago, they have decided they're going to spend the first quarter doing schooling from home. There's a bunch of public schools across the country that are also doing remote learning.
I wish there was a bookie that would have taken that bet. I would have put money on that in May.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was for sure a thing that was going to happen. I had no doubt about that. But of course, places like Georgia, those people are all back in school. There's a student who took a picture
and got suspended. Sorry. She got suspended.
Just breathe and finish all your libations, and I'll handle the sentence work.
I was trying to drink the coffee.
I was trying to smoke this weed and drink this shit. Need a couple chips, and
I was trying to fight the cough with the water, and it didn't work.
Yeah. No, you got it. There was a kid who was going to school down in Georgia, and she took a picture. She has a picture now. It's all over. There are like maybe 3 kids.
My IG.
Yeah, like 3 kids in that school that were in masks, and she got suspended for posting the picture. And the thing is like, I'm sure the angle that the news will take on this is that you'll see headlines that say girl who posts picture of school with no mask gets suspended, and your mind will go, oh, she took a picture of them kids with no mask. They got mad. She took a picture of kids with no mask, and they suspended her. But there is most likely a rule in her school about taking pictures inside the hallways. And that is if I was going to bet money, that's what she got suspended for.
Okay. That's you're probably right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
but
So like not as so like not to promote something else from us. If you go to YouTube, you can actually find we did a midweek breakdown of the Axios interview of our company, and we talked about the idea that all big name media, right? All big name media do this thing where this is the way this is a thing that they do, and so that is. They twist the story to make it work for them, and so I that's possibly not different here.
Yeah. I would still say I mean in that scenario people respond differently all the time, but it's weird that they wouldn't be aware of how that would look.
Right.
Like, even if it's a policy,
right?
Like, hey, maybe we don't suspend her because she's gonna go on MSNBC.
Yeah. Who
Now,
knows?
So maybe they're not supposed to use their. I wonder. Okay, you know what? I have a high schooler. I'll ask him. I wonder if that's a common rule.
Who knows? I would check and see. It's possible.
My son's never sent me a picture from school. I check his. I link into all of his accounts.
Sure.
He's never on them during school. So
yeah, I mean, I'm sure just even having your phone out in school is probably a no-no, right? That's probably a thing you're not allowed to do, and so then taking a picture probably gets you in trouble too. But it's going to be a dangerous time because everybody talks about like even if it's true that the kids aren't going to get that. Well, there's already been cases of kids getting sick, so that's ridiculous. But even if it were true that the kids aren't going to be getting each other sick, like somebody's got to teach the kids.
Yeah. Somebody's got to clean the desk. Somebody got to clean the desk. Somebody's got to,
serve the lunches. And the other thing too is like just because a kid's not going to get sick doesn't mean they can't like carry the virus to someone. It doesn't just die because it touches a kid. The kid just may have an immune system there. It doesn't get sick, but that doesn't mean they can't take that virus to somebody who's older and then give it to them.
Also, every major doctor I've ever seen speak about this, and I've watched probably 50 of these motherfuckers. Almost all of them say the same thing. Because this is a novel virus, we have no idea what the long-term effects are. We don't know if 10 years from now you grow a third arm. Obviously,
right?
It's not a thing, but I don't know. Shit, anything's possible. It's 2020, but we don't know. We don't even know what the effect is the year after somebody's had it because there hasn't been anybody who's had it for a year.
Right.
Like it. We don't have the information to know if it's okay to get it as a kid. It might fuck you up if you get it as a kid, and when you're 20, something horrible might happen. We don't know.
Right.
So to just say it's okay to let kids get it because they're not gonna get too sick is dumb as fuck. Additionally, he's not taking into account the massive number of kids who also may be at risk. There are kids with compromised immune systems.
Yeah.
Of all different sorts.
I had asthma as a kid. I don't know if it would have been a great idea for me to go and spend time in school with a bunch of kids who are also sick.
Juvenile diabetes is a real thing.
Which is a big concern for this.
Yeah, I like you said, asthma already. There's other stuff. So his carelessness.
Yeah.
To send children back to school. I'm so happy. I think I keep looking for signs in the world that he's losing, that his voice doesn't mean anything like it used to. And the fact that major schools around the country are all just like, yeah, fuck you, we're not having classes, and totally ignoring him and his threat to hold the money back is amazing. It's very, I love it. Obviously there's schools in states where he has a strong following. Like there was a school in California in an area that's very Republican that fucking 200 kids all squeezed in and took a picture together. Those kids are at the higher end of where it stops being okay. Like I just saw a story this morning of a 19-year-old dying.
Right.
So like this presumption that these kids are going to be okay is just so fucked up.
That's the craziest thing about this virus, though, is that it's not been around long enough for us to be quite sure exactly how and who it affects. even at this many people, we're still getting like new information about how some of the things with the virus work, who it deals with. Listen, man, when 3 people are sick with a virus, you only have those 3 people's histories and like eating patterns and, health histories to look at to go, okay, well, maybe this is why you got sick. But like, so that's why it changes all the time, right? Once you get to 15 people, you're like, oh, cool. We have a couple Asian people who've had it. We've had some people who are white who've had it. We can now try and figure out like what racial markers, what gender markers. You can't figure all that stuff out until you get more cases of people who have it, unfortunately. And so like what that means is the information is going to evolve over time, and what works and what doesn't work is going to evolve over time too.
What really bothers me is there doesn't seem to be we're doing all the research right now is focused. Everybody's racing for the cure or the vaccine, and I understand because it's fucking shutting down the planet. I don't know a lot about therapeutics and treatments because there might be things that we could do to help minimize the effects before it gets to you got to go to the hospital. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I know, like there's a study from Israel that vitamin D3 is apparently literally the doctor used the term. It's like taking a steroid for your immune system. Taking steroids for your immune system is what the doctor said.
Wow.
And I'm repeating them. This is not me emphasizing or embellishing.
Yeah.
It was a huge study in Israel. Please check for yourself. It was on. They were talking about it on not NPR, but I believe they studied 60,000 Israelis with it. So it was a massive study for that type of study. And they said taking vitamin D3 helps block it if you are if you have like maybe a mild casual contact with the virus.
Right.
It helps block it. And if you have it, if you've contracted it, it helps reduce the effect of the symptoms.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing that's weird is how there's this, suggestion that like only the people on the right want to find a cure, or that like there's this thing where, again, it's that whole like the right looks at the left as being weak. There's this whole thing about the right looking at the left as being weak that they kind of use consistently as this like lever to act like, well, you guys just want to stay home. Well, you just want to get welfare money. We just want, you know what I mean? Like it's this whole rollout of things.
Wants to stay home.
Well, I mean, some people want to stay home. That's not an accurate statement. There's a bunch of people that want to stay home, but
I mean, stay home.
People
and
want
not
to be locked
able to
up.
Go out. Okay,
right? Yeah, there are introverts, but
shout out introverts. I feel you, but introverts do not like shout outs. They're usually kind of
introverts hate shout outs. They would actually like to leave them alone.
Keep to themselves. Why the fuck are you drawing it? Why are you drawing attention to me? No shout out to introverts, but aside from introverts, most people want to have a social life. Like if we could stay home and I could stay home from work. Well, this is work, but if I had a job and I could stay home from work and still go to like a Sox game or
sure,
or I could still go to hang out at a bar or wing joint or something like that. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I want to do that. Stay home and NBA 2K it to death and look at everything on Prime, Hulu and Disney. Nah, man.
Yeah, I don't want to be caught up on. I don't want to be caught up on all these shows. It's
insane. It's insane. I'm running out of shows. I'm running out of black shows, and there's a lot of new black shows. I've been trying to watch. I was like, well, fuck it. I got time. I could just watch all the black shows, and I'm starting to black shows.
Just starting to get low on it. Okay, so listen, here's the deal. Normally, I am on my pro account for this, and it seems like I somehow missed that with this one. So we're going to take a quick break if you're listening to this or you're watching right now. James might jump on here and tell you a couple things about Zanies, and I'm going to reboot this thing in 1 second under the right account, and we're going to do the other half of this pod. Right, we're going to get to the back half of this pod in just a second. So if you're watching, stay with us. We'll be back here in just a second.
All right, sorry about that, folks. It's me, James, coming at you live with some copy about Chicago's most historic comedy club, Zanies, specifically Zanies in Old Town. Zanies Chicago in Old Town is, hold on, I lost the copy there. They are now open. They are enacting various safety measures to keep everyone COVID-free and safe in this trying time. Some of the requirements they have, you got to wear a mask when you come in and every time you leave your seat. But when you're sitting down, you can enjoy a drink, you can enjoy your food, you can take it easy. The tables are very distant inside, so you don't need to worry about running into anybody's breath while you're in there. There are numerous hand sanitization stations placed throughout the club, and completely digital menus. So you don't have to touch a menu that some other grimy dude has touched. And you don't have to touch anything your servers touch, keeping them, the kitchen staff, the house staff, the engineers, everybody inside, and you and the comedians 100% safe. Comedy is alive and well in Chicago. Please go to zanies.com/Chicago or chicago.zanies.com. That's chicago.zanies.com for tickets. They have shows, I believe they have shows 4 days a week now, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, featuring Chicago's and the nation's best comics. Again, all completely safe in a great environment in historic Old Town Chicago. We will be right back in a moment with the boys with the second half of this show. Please stay tuned. We'll see you in just a second.
Better play your role. I feel like Nelly when he dropped that country grammar. Fuck the rumors, give a fuck about a story told. Why you so mad that I can't fit you on my schedule? Why you jealous? Thought you knew that I would never fold. So many doubted, fuck them all. Now they gon' have to pay our tickets, sell our shows before we hit the road. They said we couldn't do it, now we do it just to say we did it.
Just one more second, folks. We are almost back. Once again, if you did not hear that plug earlier, that was for Zanies in Old Town Chicago. Zanies, currently the safest comedy club, I'm going to go ahead and say, in the world. Let's just put that out there. Zanies Comedy Club, the safest comedy club in the world. They are enacting various safety measures to keep everyone COVID-free in this horrible environment we've all found ourselves in, including wearing a mask upon entry and every time you leave your seat. But that's it. When you sit back down, you can take your mask off, enjoy the show, some drinks, some food, whatever. The tables are distant, so you don't have to inhale anyone else's breath while you're enjoying the show. And it's distant from the stage, so you're not infecting any comics when you're in there. Not that any of you are infectious, because you're all clean, healthy people who would not dare leave their house to go to a comedy club if you were sick. There are numerous hand sanitization stations everywhere throughout the club to make sure that you can keep yourself clean, and they're completely digital menus on your phone. You don't have to touch a grimy laminated menu ever again. Keeping you, your server, the kitchen staff, the house staff, everybody completely and totally safe. Visit chicago.zanies.com for more information to get tickets. There are shows 4 days a week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's popping. Chicago comedy ain't dead. It's alive and well. We're coming back right now, folks. Give me 1 second. Here we go with the second half of the new one.
And we are back here, guys. Thank you for giving us a chance to do a break and switch over. I usually
guys,
get
I'm looking at our feed.
Yeah.
Like it's just our picture up. There's no video.
Huh. I wonder if you can
I'm
hear us.
I'm looking at our live feed right now.
Oh, you're
Right.
seconds behind, brother. It should be
Yeah,
coming back right now.
yeah. It should be back any second.
Trust
so
your producer, XL.
Yeah,
I
man,
trust you,
you're
brother.
fine.
Okay.
Trust the boss, man. Trust the boss. So let's jump back into what we're talking about now. Deutsche Bank has opened an internal investigation into the personal banker of President Trump and Jared Kushner, which kicked off over a 2013 real estate transaction. Have you paid any attention to that?
Yeah, man. Deutsche Bank's been dropping dimes this whole time. So here's the thing. Deutsche Bank has been dirty for a long time, and they are doing an internal investigation of themselves because trying to man, who is handling all these crazy Trump loans? Like these motherfuckers didn't know. All right, they gave him like $100 million, fam. I don't give a fuck how massive, what kind of things are going on in a bank. You get somebody $100 million, people know about that.
Right.
people above you know about that. Like if your $100 million from your bank, even if you deal in trillions of dollars total, like your bank knows you gave $100 million and you own a golf course. Technically,
right?
You're financing it. Y'all know that. You know if Turnberry is yours.
Yeah,
So,
you should have some idea about what's going on with your whole deal. You know,
because I'm pretty sure, like this, just a little thing from the inside of that, from the inside of finance world. If they finance that place, guess what? The people at Deutsche Bank get to golf for free.
Yeah, they're for sure golfing in those spots for free.
The CEO of Deutsche Bank is not paying to fucking golf at Turnberry if he financed the motherfucking place.
Yeah, it was a $300 million loan that Trump had for Trump World Tower. He borrowed $640 million for the hotel and tower in Chicago, with a $40 million personal guarantee. He actually sued Deutsche Bank at one point. Trump did. And then
they were giving him money.
Yeah, they were loaning him money for the Turnberry project, I think, out of that, or for Trump Tower, one of the two. So the thing, though, is like this is the same Deutsche Bank that we did a midweek mini on just a couple weeks ago about their alleged involvement in the murder of the husband and shooting of a son of a judge who is going to deal with a case of theirs. So I think part of this might be them trying to do a pre-mea culpa of like, hey, before y'all find out that we fucked up, we gonna find out who been fucking up. So they got to find scapegoats, man. You can't take down, Deutsche Bank doesn't want to go down. So like, who can we put over the fucking barrel for this shit? And it looks like Rosemary Vrablik, who is the banker for the Trumps, is probably going to be the person who gets fucked up in that whole deal.
Yeah, she's going to be super fucked up. And again, I keep throwing this back out there because I feel like everybody, I want to do the Will Ferrell line. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I just keep reminding everybody that Justice Kennedy's son was also a banker involved in many of those transactions. And he abruptly left his position right when all this shit started to jump off.
Heavily involved.
And right after he left that position, Justice Kennedy surprisingly retired and gave Trump another fucking Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
And there's footage. I've had trouble finding it again. I had it. I lost it. I deleted it by accident. There's footage of an exchange between Trump and Justice Kennedy that looks as though if Justice Kennedy is kind of like not too happy with Trump.
Right.
Like they're not straight up. It's not like a cat fight. It's a look like kind of like don't talk to me, you piece of shit. Get the fuck away from me type of look.
Sure. That, I mean, I'm just not somebody who gets. There's so many.
I mean, it's.
Haven't you seen how paparazzi takes pictures? They take 4,000 pictures at a time.
It's
sure.
Video, but
and even if that is, it's like, who knows what type of discussion they were even having.
It could have been. It could have been about the Chargers. It could have been about the Chargers versus.
They could be disagreeing over a breakfast place.
Yeah.
Or over a golf club. Oh, you think fucking Turnberry? You think Turnberry is a dopest? Get the fuck out of here! And he turns around and walks away, or like, you know what I mean? Like, 13 is,
And his son quits a week later, and then he retires.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
The idea that men can't have, or that two people can't express like a moment of like anger towards each other without and that has to be the thing that we think is part of the conspiracy, is kind of like leaping to conclusions, right?
Yeah.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Post hoc ergo propter hoc. You get just because it happened before doesn't mean it happened after. So
yeah,
or as related to what happened after.
And listen, sometimes words get mixed up, and you could ask Joe Biden about that. He has had some struggles. Oh man.
I'm gonna this is a message to anybody from the Biden campaign that might happen to watch this show. I'm gonna take off the glasses for this. I'm gonna take off the glasses.
Don't yell too loud in that mic, because I know you're about to try and explode on some shit.
I'm sorry. The people telling y'all that Joe needs to get out there and talk more are not your fucking friends, okay? They not on your side. The people who keep telling you to take Joe out of the bunker and let him get in and give press conferences and shit. You know who wants that? Trump wants that, because Joe's gonna fuck it up. All right, he's got the easiest cakewalk to victory. All he has to do is not get COVID and don't die. Like, that's literally all he has to do, is don't die before January 21st, and he gets to be president.
All he had to do is just give a singular singular positive statement about one group of people. He was speaking about specifically the Latino community, and he could have easily just said the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with an incredibly diverse attitude about different things, and that would have been great. And he could have gone on with what he said, but for some reason, Joe just has to he's like, am I speaking? I should say something about black people. Are there these people? Black people. You guys are black life. Let me just say something.
Not the black people, just from the Wild Hundreds.
Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, what I want to know is when he said, unlike the African American community, like when it clicked in his head, when he was like, well, not all of them. And then he said, with notable exceptions, I want to know who are the people that popped into his head where he was like, oh, wait.
100% it was Harry Belafonte. He's from the island.
Oh, shit. Billy Porter. That guy's diverse.
Yeah.
RuPaul is definitely not the same black.
Lupita Nyong'o. She can't be from here. Oh my God.
Man. Oh, what are I just want to know. I would love if you are watching this or if you listen to this at some point, I would love for you to let us know who are Joe Biden's notable exceptions. We may put that out there today. We need to know who is his notable. He just needs, they got to tuck him away, man. They need mothballs for this dude until this is over.
Technically, what he said wasn't wholly incorrect. Okay.
You are such a Democrat.
Because I get what he was trying to say. The majority of Black America, the majority of the people that he's referring to, Black America, is from here. Like the majority of us are from here. Like the vast majority, by a landslide, are from here. However, the Latino culture, we have people from Puerto Rico, Cuba, Mexico. There is a diversity within the diversity, is what I believe he was trying to say.
Here's how he's going to prove himself right. When still like 80% to 90% of Black people that vote for Joe Biden, he will have been proven correct. But not because he's actually right, just because there's just not that many people are going to vote for Trump, right? Like man, not that many Black people. There are some, but there's not that many Black people that are going to vote for Trump. That's just not going to happen.
You have to either really hate yourself or really actually have benefited from those tax cuts to vote for Trump at this point. Like, you have to have an actual financial, like, there has to be like a fiduciary reason that is so big for you.
Right.
Like a old friend of mine, I just found out she is a hardcore Trump fan. Like, literally had a picture up about, this is why I love my president. And I was heartbroken, but then I remember who she was. She grew up incredibly rich and married incredibly rich. And she's a good person. She's nothing wrong with her, but she's never been anywhere near like incredibly rich. Had a Mercedes when she was like 19. That was nicer than most adults. Yeah. And so I can't.
She can afford to not give a shit.
Yeah, she's never had to give a shit. She happens to be Latina, and you would think, but someone from her background doesn't identify with most of the community that I'm familiar with. I don't know that. I have a couple friends that are wealthy, but of that community, but most of my friends are regular people.
Yeah, but the truth is that's the same thing as that Batman example, right? It's like getting out of the pit and then looking down and like wondering why nobody else has made it out of the pit.
Well,
it's like
she got money. Like, I don't think she knew it was a pit, that the pit exists. Like, you tell her that
what you're telling me is,
she's like, really?
Right. What you're telling me is that somebody crawled out of that pit for her a long time ago.
Yeah. Like, she like second, third generation money.
Yeah. So that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
In the meantime, whatever happens with Biden, they're like the blue wave is not over for progressive Democrats. Rashida Tlaib won again. AOC beat back the challenger that everybody started to make a fuss about at one point. And I think one of the biggest stories was Cori Bush in Missouri.
That was huge.
Winning down there. I thought that was a huge move because she is very much in that line of a squad style Democrat.
I can't remember what the reporter's name was. So I'm not gonna bash her because it was funny because she was right, but just sounded funny when she said it. She was talking about she was talking about Corey Cash, right?
Yeah.
She was talking about her, and she was like, she's from the streets, and I was like, oh man, right now the way you phrase that, that's gonna be a meme or some shit for somebody. But
right.
you know, she actually, you know, and then she followed up and was like, she was actually homeless, you know, blah blah blah, and when she became an activist, while she was an activist. So that is an incredible story.
Yeah, she put away William Clay, who had been a 20-year incumbent representative,
whose father had also represented
Bill Clay. Yeah, he retired and his kid took over.
I think his dad was there for 30 years. I think the two of them had run 50-year.
Yeah,
they had that seat in that family.
Yeah, and obviously she started to gain more recognition after the movements that happened with Michael Brown in 2014. She was backed by Bernie Sanders. She campaigned as a nurse and a leader in racial justice movements, and she won. And it's not just, you know, Bush won there, but also, you know, Tlaib squeaked by like hundreds of votes the first time in Michigan. She won 66% of the vote this last time. Yeah. Ayanna Pressley in Massachusetts is crushing. She's going to have no problem repeating again. So like the reality, and this is again a problem, you know, I talked about Ayanna Pakari, who had left MSNBC a little bit in our midweek mini. And the problem is that, and she points this out in her blog, that like there's so much attention that gets focused on Trump. Like even today, part of our show notes, I was going to talk about his verbal gaffes again, but it's, you know, there's so much other time to be spent on people doing different things than that. And when all that energy gets spent there, then that becomes the argument. Yeah. And what we should be talking about is the fact that the reality in a lot of these places is that Republicans aren't winning, that the message isn't hitting, that it's not being successful in getting like actual results that would make anybody buy into that. Right. So, you know, I think that's the path that we seem to be on when it comes to actual progressiveness that's happening. Elsewhere in the world, did you see that explosion that happened in fucking Beirut?
That shit blew my mind. And if you want to see it, I actually have video of the aftermath. I didn't watch it either, but
because like inside of that, a bunch of people died, right?
Yeah,
like that's
it was. When I saw the original one with all the different angles,
right.
I was not ready for it. I literally sat there. I have a friend who's Lebanese, and he sent me that like right after, like an hour or something after it happened. Somebody put that together, and he sent me that, and I was like, whoa, and then some other people sent it. But anyway, but the first time I saw it, I literally was just sitting there like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
And apparently
it happened a movie.
Yeah, apparently it happened because, you know, there's not a lot of restrictions on things in Lebanon right now. That place has been torn apart by civil war. They are deeply in debt. They owe a bunch of different countries money. They don't have, because they went through the civil war, they don't have the type of money to restart industry. Apparently it's a beautiful place. I've never been to Lebanon. It's supposed to be, there's actually like grass and rivers, even though it's like right near a very desert-like area. So it's apparently very attractive as a place to go. But because there's so many different countries that have financial interests in Lebanon, it struggles to find its footing and get out of the massive debt that it's under, which is it's a problem. And it's not going to be, I mean, you know, there's a pandemic, so they're losing more money right now. This thing happens, which is basically carelessness at the very minimum, if not something more, which I haven't seen anything that sticks about that, which you probably won't know for a while anyway. But
well, apparently there was ammonium nitrate stored in the building that had been there for 6 years.
Yeah,
it had been seized off a ship, and they knew it was there, and they've been permits or something to get it moved, but nobody actually ever did anything. And there's some trash ass conspiracy theories that I'm not going to acknowledge going on too, but
nothing can ever just be a fuck up, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
has anybody you know what it does when I'm at home and I like knock something over or spill something or like drop something that I think I feel so much more internal pressure because the rest of the world acts like every time there's a mistake or an accident that there's some like nefarious thing going on. So even the very basic
Why did
mistakes
that
I might
just
make,
happen?
I'm just like, oh shit, is something happening right now? Am I in the middle of a conspiracy to make me spill all over my house and ruin my couch? It just got me all fucked up. But no, the reality is like there are some countries that it's so the US has these people who will argue against the idea of regulating businesses and storage facilities because you don't want to tax the people. And then something like that happens over there. And the same people who are against regulations are like, nobody would just leave 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate sitting in a building. Yeah, motherfucker, when there's no restrictions and regulations, that's exactly what somebody's going to do.
That's 100% what they're going to do.
That's exactly why you need them here. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point.
Because what the fuck do they think they're going to do with it? You think people are going to act responsibly when they don't have to? Here's the thing. Have you ever been driving in an area where they just laid down new road and they haven't put the lines in yet?
Oh, for sure.
And have you seen traffic fuck up because there's no lines? Like, without lines, people fuck up almost immediately.
Right.
Because we're not robots and we're not programmed to do this shit. And our brains are like, there's no line. So I guess I could just go in. I can go do whatever. Yeah. And people, if you look outside, I live near a lot of cornfields and open space and shit. I see people dump shit on the side of the roads. There's train tracks not that far from me. I see people dump stuff over there. People, because they can't afford to take care of something the legal way, or they're just assholes. People dump shit all the time.
Oh yeah.
You think, and the explanation of they had a full, like the explanation of it being there and why it got left there completely makes sense.
Right.
A ship got stopped.
At the time.
It was and they were stored there. It was supposed to get moved, and it never fucking got moved because of what you were saying at the beginning of this piece, that their government has been for shit. And hell, we get shit. I guarantee you there's someplace in America that there's a stockpile of fucking shit that shouldn't be there.
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
Places in America.
There's a bunch of them. There's all types of
probably
places.
not something with 2,700 tons.
Yeah, shit blows up here. That's not. So we're not above people fucking up storage rules. There's radioactive leaks at power plants in Illinois. Of course, there's shit blowing up here. There's shit ready to go. Back in the States, a surprising thing has happened. It's been a rough couple of years for the NRA. Yeah. They were motoring along just fine. They were heavily involved in the previous presidential election. A lot of involvement in getting Donald Trump elected, and ever since then, they have been dealing with a big problem. The New York.
I jumped ahead too quick. I saw the notes. I knew this was coming up. This was specifically for them. This background was specifically for them.
Letitia James, who is the Attorney General of New York, filed a lawsuit that's actually aimed at dissolving the NRA. She lists them as being fraught with fraud and abuse, which is a very true statement. So I'm interested to see how this process works, because this has been an organization that does not. I am not anti-gun. I am not opposed to the idea of guns, mostly just because of the fact that other people do, because they exist.
Other people have them.
They exist. I'm not opposed to guns simply because they exist, and also because I'm comfortable with the idea of people being allowed to go hunt for food. I think that's I'm comfortable with that. I don't have a weird bone in my body about us going like, there's so many deer that you could kill X amount of them every year and we'd be fine. And I go, okay, I'm fine. That's functional. I eat meat. I'm fine with how that works. But the NRA itself is not about that part of the deal, right? That's not what that organization is.
The gun lobby is literally what they're called, the gun lobby. They are a lobby for the gun manufacturers. They don't give a fuck about the Second Amendment, except for the existence of the Second Amendment allows them to exist, allows them to be. So their motivation is to keep you morons buying more and more of their products for some fucking fighting of tyranny. And by the way, we've seen what you will do in the face of tyranny. Not jack shit.
Stay home.
You stayed home.
We've been dealing with tyranny right now.
You motherfuckers came out. You motherfuckers came out for the masks, but you didn't come out to protect women, mothers standing up. You didn't come out for that. You hate black people that much that you let your government go to shit and let mothers, white women, get fucking attacked and tear gassed? You're pieces of shit. You're cowards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The NRA doesn't have any backing for those people. Like you said, the NRA is about lobbying for the companies, not about the end product user, right? The person who owns guns, that's not who the NRA is for. And all the money that you've put into NRA dues has gone to help support lobbies that have essentially helped fight gun laws that allow manufacturers to sell more guns than necessary.
It would be like I sent extra money to Microsoft to help them develop more games for me to buy.
Yeah, and then argued against breaking up Microsoft because you like those games.
Yeah. Right.
Even though those games that you were buying, like some people were taking those games and murdering the shit out of people with them.
Yeah. I'm like, don't touch any other games. Well, those aren't even the games that you like. I don't care. If you touch those games, they're gonna come from my games. You're taking this analogy too far.
Yeah.
People are lost. They're like, what the fuck are they talking about?
I want to close out on some more.
I play a lot of video games.
We're getting to it. By the way, Fortnite has cars now. They have cars. Yeah. It's fucking super dope. It's the dopest shit ever.
You took a whole time out of your day. The other day, you're like, we recorded the mini, and I was like, what are you gonna do? Well, other than fuck with all the cars on Fortnite.
That's it, man.
That you had that scheduled for that slot of the day.
You can jump in a semi truck and go driving away in Fortnite. It's wonderful. And some other cool things that are wonderful. Sex work is work. Strippers have been fighting for some fair labor practices for a long time. Obviously, that is an industry where it can be very tough on women. It's usually tough on all the women who are in it for the most part. So there's not a ton of stripper success stories or exotic dancer success stories that are out there. It can be a difficult world. There's a woman named Brandy Campbell who actually was trying to unionize. She was fired for trying to create a union at her club in Ohio. And the National Labor Relations Board upheld a ruling for her to be able to unionize. And so for the first time ever, strippers are going to be able to unionize, which is super cool. If you work at a strip club and you decide you want to unionize, you can do so without facing being fired, which is going to do a lot, I think, for their rights.
Now, can we keep it 100?
Keep it 100.
A lot of strip clubs that I'm familiar with are owned by the mob. So I respect their right to unionize. I completely respect their right to unionize. And I'm a union fed me, raised me.
Right.
I support union
me too.
rights.
I'm in favor 100%.
Of them. I'd be a little bit worried about going to Tony and saying we got a union now, because there's always a Tony.
Tony should be familiar with unions. Tony's whole thing is unions. That's his whole gimmick. He doesn't want you to have one.
Exactly. He don't want one against him.
No. He wants to be able to use one
that he can milk the dudes and throw some easy jobs on. The guys who work for Tony ain't getting on the pole.
Right.
So there's no union jobs for him in that.
Some quick sports stuff and we'll get the hell out of here. Jonathan Isaac is a player for the Orlando Magic. This happened last week after the show. In regards to playing in the bubble for the Magic in the NBA this year, he mentioned that he was not going to be taking a knee because he's a Christian, and that somehow guided him not to take a knee. In a game shortly after that, he blew out a tendon in his knee.
It was that same game.
His ACL in that game in which he made that statement beforehand. He went out and blew out his ACL, which is a knee. He blew his knee out, the very one that he wouldn't kneel on.
Yeah, this is evidence that if there's a God, he's black. Nigga, what? Nigga, what?
I mean, so I'm agnostic. So for me, it's like, I wouldn't just say this is God doing anything. But also I'm comfortable with the idea that maybe energy works in interesting ways. And
hey, man, Look, man, you know how I feel about karma and energy and shit like that. I don't try to put nothing bad in the world, so nothing bad come back towards me. I try to put good shit out there. So I'm not saying he deserved it or nothing like that. But man, it's real. He got to be going, damn, Jesus. Because one of two things. Either Jesus is black Or either Jesus is black. I mean, he did have a problem with the popos.
Right.
or there is no God, because he clearly didn't give a fuck about you, Isaac.
Jesus take the knee. That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, those are the only two options, right? Either well, yeah, either Jesus, either God is alive and is a real thing and doesn't give a fuck about what's happening with the Orlando Magic or anything that's happening here at all, right?
No, but he cares about you taking a knee.
Or he cares extra hard about some shit. Either or he doesn't exist at all. Either he doesn't exist at all, and that's just a wild coincidence. He exists and gives zero fucks about you, or you are super wrong. Those are the only.
I guess you could say,
right?
or maybe Satan did it. That's what the uber Christians are.
That still takes me back to God.
That was the devil that did that.
Who made
the devil?
Who made the devil?
There you go. Also, this dude just stood up for Jesus. Literally stood up for Jesus. And if the devil can knock you down after you stood up for Jesus,
you might be on the wrong team.
Oh, yeah. That's like a good insurance policy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to call nobody out. I'm not trying to question nothing. I'm just saying.
The last thing I want to talk about is I happen to be a WNBA fan. I know that there are some people that didn't know we existed, but we're out here. Elena Delle Donne is still my favorite WNBA player, even though she is no longer playing for the Chicago Sky. DeShields is my new dope Sky player now. But they, people make a lot of claims about how trying to be active and protest doesn't do a whole lot, and that the WNBA doesn't do a whole lot. Well, they took issue with Kelly Loeffler, who is a senator out of Atlanta. She was also a partial owner of Atlanta's basketball team in the WNBA. She hasn't been involved in leadership for a long time there. She complained about the whole Black Lives Matter movement, everything going on in the WNBA. And fortunately, because of all the shit that she's been doing, it's created a huge fundraising boost for her opponent in the next election. Like a huge fundraising boost, like 3,500 new donors kind of boost. Okay. So, to say that them standing up or being about what is important to them or taking the right side in something doesn't matter, or that they're not good enough is all not real. So shout out to the WNBA. WNBA love shout outs.
They love WNBA, love shout outs. I am right now, I'm a Sparks fan. I am my fandom moves with players. It does. In the WNBA, Cheryl Swoops was my favorite. I loved her. And then Lisa Leslie also. So it was the team that was in Houston, which I don't think they're in Houston anymore. I forgot they moved. They were like the initial dynasty team down in Houston. Cheryl Swoops dominated. Then Lisa Leslie came into the league, and I was like, she could dunk on me. That's sexy. A woman that could dunk on me. That's sexy. I love that bitch. And now I'm with LA Sparks because Candace Parker is literally from the hood.
Oh yeah, Candace Parker is from the hood. Okay.
Back in the days when we were shorties. So
yeah, that's true.
Big ups, mad love to her and her older brother, who I was actually playing with, but she used to come on the court too. So
hey man, where can people find you online? This has been a great episode. Where can they find you online to see more of your funniness?
They can find me at XL Comedy. Boom, boom, boom. XL Comedy on IG, Facebook, and Twitter.
Nice. You can find me at mocha_Jesus on Instagram and Twitter. You can find the New OGs at New OGs Pod and Instagram and Twitter. Go to the New OGs on Facebook to watch our live shows. Go to the New OGs channel to watch those there. Find People of Comedy at People of Comedy or at People of Comedy Network if you are on Instagram. Make sure you get there. Thank you guys so much for tuning into everything. I don't know if James is back in here, so you may just see us closing out. But thank you guys so much for listening to everything we have going on. We'll catch you next week. Actually, we have a midweek mini coming up. We're going to talk about some conspiracies and the crazy return of charges of pedophilia as we get to another election. So make sure you catch up with our midweek mini later this week. Find our latest midweek mini on Trump and Axios on YouTube right now. That's the only place our midweek minis are. We'll catch you next week. That's it. That's what's up.
Deuces. Go Hayes, go Hayes.
I'm a zigzag through the gang like we're smoking on trees. Niggas won't work with us, they pay a fee. Diamonds is mouse and cheese. Can't find too many better than me. All about getting cheddar and D. Guala, mozzarella, parmesan cheese. Say you ballin', but not in my league. Say you ballin', but not in my league. Yeah, whole lot of niggas change. They can try to steal the